Hey, what's up guys? Joey from Bulletproof for BJJ here, and today I'm going to tell you why your mobility is holding you back from becoming a better wrestler. Wrestling is a big part of BJJ. It's something that we all train a little bit of. Some of us train a little bit more, but the idea is that we want to have a basic understanding of how to stand up grapple. And one of the most fundamental techniques of the stand-up game is shooting. So being able to shoot in on your opponent and catch a single or a double leg takedown. From a technique perspective, this gets explored to some degree in most jiu-jitsu academies, but what doesn't get explored is the mobility that's required in order for you to execute the technique properly. The issue here is that you don't have the adequate mobility at the knees and at the ankles, and even to a degree at the hips. You will never be able to do a proper shot. So there's a couple of basic things we're looking at. The main capacity that we're looking for is for me to be able to have my foot on the ground, my knee traveling forward, and then my torso upright. Now I can just take that knee to the floor, but ideally what I want here is that I'm still sitting on my heel, my knees touching the ground, and my torso is upright. In terms of mobility, everything that I require is being expressed in this position. You can see that my heel is touching my butt, my calf and my hamstring are completely squashed together, so that means that my knee is completely flexed or bent, and then my torso is upright. We're not in a static position when we do this in wrestling. It's dynamic, right? It's moving, but we still need to be able to express these capacities so that we can get into a comfortable position, which will enable us to perform a good shot. But we still need to be able to get into these positions so that we can start to drill the technique effectively and then eventually become really good at wrestling and double leg the fuck out of everyone. Here's the thing, and my right side is a really good example of this. I had an ACL surgery a couple of years ago on this knee. The range of motion is not what it used to be, and it's something that I'm working on. So I don't quite have that same range of motion on this side. And what that means is if I show you where I'm at here, you'll see that it's a bit uncomfortable when I get into that end range, and you see I can't quite sit my butt to my heel. So yeah, I've got hamstring and calf connected. My knee's pretty flexed, but it's not quite at the same level of comfort or depth as the other side. Now, this is something that I'm working on, but I just want to point that out to make the note that I've got some limitations around this myself. And for some of you watching this, you might have longer term limitations like that yourself. However, I'm going to give you 3 mobility drills that you can use, and you can do these every day before training. And all they're going to do is loosen up your calves, loosen up the muscles around the knee. So we're talking mostly the quads here. All right, so first drill we're going to look at is a calf stretch. Now, we're doing this at the academy, time is of the essence. This is the most effective calf stretch I know. It's nice and quick, and it's because we're applying a turbocharger to your regular kind of calf stretching. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be up against the wall. I'm going to lower myself down, and then I'm going to bring my foot in. My heel is on the floor, the ball of my foot is against the wall, and then I'm going to lock my knee so this leg is locked tight. Now what I want to do while keeping this knee locked is start to drive my hip in towards the wall. So what I'm doing here is I'm levering in towards the wall, and I'm getting this big stretch through the back of the shin, right? And I'm going to get about 20 repetitions here. Once I've done that, I'm then just going to hold that top position. Now, you should notice this is a really intense stretch. We get our 20 seconds, and then we're going to switch to the other side, okay? Main things with this are make sure you're keeping this knee locked, so my quad is engaged the whole time. Make sure you lower down when you set the position up, otherwise you'll probably just be in here with your toes jammed against the wall and not actually getting much going on at the calf. If I lower down, I get my heel in as close to the wall as I can. Now I've got really good leverage to get a stretch through the back of that shin. And don't rush, don't bounce through the repetitions. Just slowly pulse in and slowly pulse out. 20 reps, hold the last rep, 20 to 30 seconds. So now that we've loosened off the calf, the second thing that we're going to do is get into the ankle joint. Now, ankles get tight, and they're one of those parts of the body that take a long time and a lot of consistency and repetition to change, because they're such a strong joint. They hold all of our body weight. However, you can change the range of motion of your ankle. You just have to put the time into it. So if this is something that you find really challenging, you want to be using this every day, as long as it's comfortable for you. So we've stretched the calves out. Now we're going to get into the ankle. I'm going to use this fisherman squat position here, this kneeling position. So you see, I'm sitting on the shin of this other leg. Now, if that's not comfortable for you, you can put the leg out behind you. Whatever you got to do to make that comfortable, that's not important. What is important is what's happening on this side here. So you'll notice what I'm doing here. My foot is flat on the ground, and then I'm going to push my knee forward over my toes. Now I'm just going to turn to the side a little bit here so you can see. So I'm pushing that knee forward over my toes, right? Now, what I'm getting here right now is a big stretch going on through the back of the leg. So I'm feeling it in the Achilles, up into the calf a bit, and it's a different aspect of the calf than what I was feeling in the last stretch against the wall. But I'm just gonna hang out here. The beauty of this stretch is that you could be in class, your coach could be talking, showing a technique, and you could be sitting in this position, loosening off your ankle and calf while your coach is doing their thing, all right? With this stuff, we wanna try and sneak it in wherever possible. So this is a really handy drill for that. Now, I don't mind if you push further and your heel lifts off the ground. The main thing is, however, that we're not getting tight or we're not stabilizing at the ankle in order to hold ourselves in this position. I want you to relax into the ankle joint, and at a point you might actually feel that there's more load through the front of the joint as opposed to this stretch. That's a good thing because it means that stuff on the back has loosened off to a point where you can kind of find end range through the front there. So like I said, heel can stay down, heel can lift as long as you're staying relaxed in the ankle. And I can move between upright and I can also lean down and put a bit of weight into this, right? Now, if we were in the gym, you could totally put a kettlebell or a weight plate or a dumbbell onto the knee and just hang out here. A couple of minutes is a really good amount of time to work on this drill. Obviously, we're gonna perform that on both sides, all right? So make sure you're getting both. Now, interestingly, when I do this on my right side, I feel it a lot more in the front of the ankle joint. I've got an old football injury on that ankle, sprained it really badly many years ago. Before jiu-jitsu, it's been a recurring thing for me. And I do feel this right at the front of the ankle joint. Sometimes it's a little bit irritated from training, and when I feel that jamming at the front, I won't push hard into it. Sometimes I know that it's better to avoid the discomfort right now because it's a bit irritated. But generally speaking, when it's not feeling irritated, I can hang out in there. I still feel the restriction at the front, but I know that it's not it's not pain, it's just a stretch discomfort. All right, so we've addressed the calves and we've addressed the ankles. Now we're gonna go into what's happening through the quads here. And this is really what's affecting the knee function. We're trying to get that knee flexion back. So I'm gonna give you two different options for this. The first drill is the easier of the two. And this is one of the simplest drills that you can be using on the mat on a daily basis if you find that you don't have optimal range of motion at the knee. All right, let me turn this side. So I'm showing you my less impressive side when I do this, all right? Still impressive though. So this is called a flat Caesar. This is really straightforward. I've got shins on the ground, my knees are at about hip width, my feet are together, okay? And then all I'm gonna do is sit down towards my butt. What you might not be able to see, probably can't see because of my gi pants here, I'm slightly elevated on this right side, so my butt isn't resting on my heels. Although on my unaffected side, where I didn't have a knee surgery, my butt is connected straight to my heel. This is what we're looking for. We're looking to try and fully sit down with our butt on our heels in this position, okay? And what you'll find is spending a couple of minutes in this position, if you're quite tight, you'll notice that after a couple of minutes, the range really does improve. Now, for some folks who may have pre-existing knee issues, you might have had a knee surgery, or you might just get a bit of discomfort in this position, you might want to add some kind of padding or block underneath your butt. So you could roll up a gi, you could use some yoga blocks. If you're in the gym, you might have access to some pieces of foam, whatever it is, and you're just gonna chock them underneath here. And you're gonna find that spot where you can sit in the position and you're getting a good stretch. It's intense, but it's not over the top. All right, we're not trying to injure anything here. We're just trying to open up a bit of range. So you wanna find that point that's manageable for you. I'm kind of there now. It is a bit uncomfortable, but I know that it's good because I can feel that I'm slowly getting more connection between my butt and my heel. Flat Caesar position, we're looking for a couple of minutes here. All right, if the flat Caesar felt okay, I wanna show you another drill here that's quite similar. It is a little bit different. You could do both of these. I wouldn't say one is better than the other, although this one here has more load in it, so it is more strengthy, and this is a natural leg extension. I really like this drill, particularly before training, being that it has the load involved as well as the stretching effect. It's obviously very applicable to whatever we're gonna be doing on the mats. Same setup as we had for our flat Caesar. Knees at around hip width. My shins are now parallel, so I don't bring the feet together. I keep them out. Parallel shins and knees. Now I'm gonna squeeze my glutes, tuck my pelvis, and brace my abs. What happens is I get this nice tight midline from my knees to my shoulders, and I'm gonna keep this line throughout the whole drill. From there, all I'm gonna do is hinge from the knee until I can place my hands on the floor. Now, for some of you, you won't be able to get your hands on the floor. You might want to try with some kind of bench behind you or some kind of blocks. If you can't get into that position yet, it might be something that you need to do at the gym or at a studio or at home where you can have like a bit of support around you, so it's safe and comfortable. But the idea is I'm hanging out much like the flat Caesar, but I'm maintaining that nice tight midline. So glutes are on the whole time, abs are tight, straight line from knees to shoulders. And as I slowly sink into it, I'm moving my butt towards my heels, but I'm doing that not by breaking the midline, I'm doing it by changing the angle at the knee, okay? Now for more advanced practitioners who perhaps haven't had a knee surgery, you might be able to get your back on the floor here. I want to make the point here, you can get your back on the floor in this position just by kind of sinking down into it, but often what will happen will just be arching through the spine, and it's not really what we're looking for in this position. So don't feel the need to go extreme with it and sacrifice your back position just to get super deep. It's all about what's happening at the knee. So like I said, trying to get my heel connected to my butt, and I'm looking at around 60 to 90 seconds in this position. So there's my 3 top drills. Well, actually it was 4 because we threw that natural leg extension in there. Use these before you get into your training session so that you can have better range of motion on the mats. If you're training wrestling drills, use these before class. If you're a coach watching this, you can run them through the class as part of the warm-up so that everyone's expressing good range of motion. The key thing is to remember, without the adequate mobility, you will never be able to express the correct technique. Essentially, you're kind of banging your head against the wall. So the more you can work on this stuff and the faster you can address your mobility deficiencies, the sooner you'll be able to perform the way you want to on the mats. Another thing to mention is that this lower body mobility is obviously really key for the wrestling component, but it's also really key for a lot of jiu-jitsu positions. If we think about knee cut passing, if we think about knee ride positions, if we think about anyone who likes to have like this kind of low gate passing style, you're down in these positions. Now, if you have comfort there, you're going to be able to get into the position and focus on the task at hand, which is passing the guard and defending attacks, rather than thinking, fuck, I'm so uncomfortable in this position. Flip it over and you're playing guard. It's the same thing. The more mobility you have, the more potential you have for movement and for strength development, and that allows you to be a better jiu-jitsu player. Hope this video helps. If you like it, please subscribe. Why not share it with a friend? Do the little thumbs up thing and all of that. If you want help with your strength and mobility and you want to make lasting changes, we've got you. You can go to bulletproofforbjj.com. We have an excellent online program. There's a free week trial there. Sign up, give it a look. I'll see you on the inside. Catch you guys next time.